Thank you, Bernard Meunier, for being here at Startup Nation Central today. Nestlé is a company that needs no introduction, the largest food and beverage company in the world, with global operation across all continents and products that every person consumes all over the world. Thank you, Bernard Meunier, for being here today and visit us today. My name is Tibor Kochman, Global Partnership Manager here at Startup Nation Central. As Executive Vice President and Head of Strategic Business Units and Marketing and Sales, tell us a bit about your role at Nestlé.
Thank you, Tibor, for having me today with you. Really appreciate it. So Nestlé is organized by geographies in terms of the profit and loss. And then we also have the strategic business units, which are organized worldwide by category. So we have coffee, confectionery, dairy, infant nutrition, pet care, and many other categories that each have their strategic business unit in charge of the global strategies for the category. No P&L, but the brand and strategy guardianship and making sure we implement then those strategies in the geographies. And plus I have the responsibility for global corporate marketing and sales, and that is more functional, I would say leadership at the global level for both marketing and sales. So that's the role.
Amazing. That's very exciting. So Bernard, we did a little bit of research and we know that it's your fourth time in Israel. So what surprised you about this visit? Do you see any interesting developments over the couple of past years in the Israeli innovation ecosystem? It's not something to be taken lightly.
No, absolutely not. And even if it is my fourth time in this wonderful country, it's actually the first time I come in my new capacity. Before that, I was the CEO of Purina, the pet care business for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So I was coming here basically to talk about cats and dogs and pet food. So this is my first visit in this new capacity. And I'm absolutely flabbergasted by what I've seen in the last 3 days. It's just amazing, the ecosystem that has emerged in Israel over the last years. I'd heard of it, of course. Startup Nation is well known, but to see it with your own eyes and meet the companies, meet this ecosystem, see the interconnection between authorities, academia, business, finance is just absolutely amazing.
Thank you for those comments. As part of your time at Startup Nation Central, you had the opportunity to engage with key industry leaders and curated group of startup founders. As a global leader that engaged with many different ecosystems all over the world, what is unique about this experience specifically in Israel?
Yeah, first of all, I have to thank you for having put up this wonderful day yesterday where we spent indeed the whole day in your incredible premises, because you have just amazing premises. I'm very jealous of where you sit here in Tel Aviv, and I would encourage anyone to come and visit you. So in those wonderful premises, you have organized an incredible day from morning till dawn. We met dozens of very promising startups in the fields of food tech and agri-tech, that each of them has managed to really create either science or technology that will bring the frontiers of food and agriculture forward. And for us at Nestlé, being the leading food and beverage company in the world, as you said, it's fantastic to be in a position to engage with so many promising startups in such a short time.
Thank you for that. That's very exciting. As you know, there is a global awareness around the connection between the way we grow food, how we feed our people, and the impact that it makes on climate. What are the main trends we can expect to see in 2023? What strategic innovations are Nestlé looking for in the near future?
So more of the same, but at an accelerated pace. So there's been now a number of years that academia and business, both the startups and the big guys like us, are convinced that our food systems are broken, that we won't be in a position to feed a planet of 8 or 9 billion people the way we do it now, without completely exhausting its resources. It's well known that we would need practically 2 planets to feed the world the way we feed today the United States or Europe. So we need to invent new food systems for the future, sustainable food systems, sustainable and scalable food systems. So what you see here is an ecosystem that has fully embraced this challenge and is very much focused on sustainable foods for the future, particularly foods that are plant-based or that are cultivated in the tank, either by cell cultivation or by precision fermentation. So this whole area of both plant-based foods and cell-based foods and fermented foods is really what is driving the ecosystem here and what we need for the future, right? So this is very much where we will be able to advance science and technology in the pursuit of those sustainable food systems of the future.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. In a straight connection to that, countries are pledging at COP to reduce their carbon emissions and reach net zero. But these commitments are a holistic approach that includes multilateral collaboration with corporations such as yours. How does moving to the alternative protein fits into Nestlé roadmap to get to net zero?
Yeah, well, it's one of the building blocks, one of the most important building blocks, I would say, together with regenerative agriculture, because we buy millions of tons of commodities, Nestlé, every year. And of course, we're just one relatively small, yet despite being the biggest, relatively small actor in the whole food scene of the world. And we absolutely need to source our commodities, our food commodities, from regenerative agriculture going forward. This, plus indeed a change of diets, moving away from animal proteins towards more plant-based proteins, are the two most important building blocks that will help the planet feed its population in a sustainable manner and reach net zero at least by 2050, if not before. We have made a strong commitment, Nestlé, to reach net zero by 2050, net zero carbon emissions, right? And this, not only in our scopes, the scopes of 1 and 2, the scopes of Nestlé, but also in scope 3, which is all of our suppliers, all the way to the farmers, which are hundreds of thousands, even millions of farmers across the world.
Amazing again. That's incredible. So after meeting with cutting-edge startups and learning about our R&D capabilities, what role do you think Israeli innovation can play in the future of food, and maybe also your personal perspective on that?
Look, what came very clear to us, because I came with my whole team here, is that Israel is a unique ecosystem when it comes to high-tech in general, and in particular when it comes to what we're concerned with, agriculture and food. And there is, I think, no other place on earth where you can find in such a small radius of a few dozens kilometers so many startups, so many academia, so many VCs that all are concentrated on reinventing food for the future. So this ecosystem has an immense role to play, and we need to absolutely leverage all those opportunities that are arising in this ecosystem. When I say we, it's the food and beverage industry in this entirety, not just us. We need to leverage this fantastic brain power that is emerging in this ecosystem in Israel. So huge role, but also huge responsibility.
Yeah.
But all the people I talked to during the last 3 days have full conscience of this responsibility. We need to reinvent together those food systems for the future.
Thank you. So helping multinational corporation is like Nestlé is helping multinational corporation like Nestlé in the Israel ecosystem and crystallize their technological needs is Startup Nation Central bread and butter. It's basically what I'm looking for every day to do. And following the insights gained during this visit, what do you think are Nestlé's plans for the future?
First, once again, I want to highlight Startup Nation Central is a wonderful tool, absolutely unique, which I haven't seen anywhere else. And this is one of those tools and supports that explains why you have been able to set up such a vibrant ecosystem in the last few years. So congratulations to you, to all those that have imagined this tool as a support for the Startup Nation. So how do we want to leverage this? First of all, let me stress that, of course, we are a leader in Israel already now through our Nestlé Osem affiliate. We're in the top 3 food companies in the country, and we are leveraging the ecosystem through that company, which is extremely innovative, that has one of the highest sales per capita of Nestlé products anywhere in the world, and which also has an immense range of products, because I think Nestlé Osem is probably the affiliate, the Nestlé branch in the whole world that has the largest range of foods, going all the way from pasta to cookies and biscuits, to coffee, to pet care, to everything. So we have a real opportunity already to leverage this ecosystem with our local brands. Think of Osem, Tival, and many others, Bamba, of course. But we should go beyond. And that's the reason why we came here, is to understand the options for us to leverage this ecosystem and our connections with all these startups and all these academic centers to help with our innovation process, not only here in Israel, but really at the global level. Now, upon visiting Israel, we will go back to Switzerland, and as a team, we will reflect how we want to do this in future months. But one thing for sure, Tibor, we'll be back.
That's great. That's great. Thank you very much for your insights, Bernard. It was great meeting you today and speak with you about Israeli innovation and how can it influence the future. I'm looking forward to visit you in Switzerland and coming to your offices. Thank you very much for being here with us today. Thank you for visiting Startup Nation Central.